Cheating Story Exposed, the channel dedicated to intense, real stories of betrayal, deception, and the moment everything falls apart. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who wins the lottery, and I definitely never thought I'd have to defend that win in court, against the woman I almost married. My name is Connor, and 3 years ago I had the best night of my life followed immediately by the worst 6 months I've ever experienced. This is the story of how a $2 scratch ticket turned into a $2 million nightmare, and how I learned that the person you trust most can become the person who hurts you worst. It started on a Tuesday in March. I remember because Tuesdays were my late shift at the hardware distribution company where I'd worked for almost 8 years. Nothing glamorous. I was a logistics coordinator, making sure shipments went where they needed to go, tracking inventory, dealing with frustrated customers when orders got delayed. It paid the bills. Barely. I stopped at the gas station on Fletcher Avenue like I always did, filled up my truck, grabbed an energy drink, and on impulse, bought 2 scratch tickets. I never bought lottery tickets. Maybe once every few months when the Powerball got huge and everyone at work was talking about it. But that day I just felt like it. No reason, no superstition, just a random choice. I didn't scratch them at the counter. I stuffed them in my cup holder and drove home to the apartment I shared with Vanessa Tours. We'd been together for almost 4 years at that point. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue. She was funny, sharp, ambitious in a way I admired. She worked in real estate, or was trying to. The market had been tough, and she'd been between agencies twice in the 2 years I'd known her. But she always talked about the big sale that was coming, the commission that would change everything. I loved her, or I thought I did. Looking back now, I'm not sure I ever really knew her. When I got home that night, Vanessa was on the couch watching some reality show with her phone in her hand. She barely looked up when I walked in. "Hey," I said, dropping my keys on the kitchen counter. "Long day." I grabbed a beer from the fridge, sat down next to her, and remembered the tickets in my truck. "I'll be right back." I went back out to the parking lot, retrieved the tickets from my cup holder, and came back inside. Vanessa was still glued to her phone. I sat at the kitchen table and scratched the first ticket. Nothing, not even a free ticket. I crumpled it up and tossed it toward the trash can. Missed. Then I scratched the second one, and I just stared at it. 3 matching symbols. $2 million. $2 million. I must have sat there for a full minute just looking at it, my brain refusing to process what I was seeing. I'd heard about people winning the lottery. I'd never actually believed it happened to real people. And it definitely wasn't supposed to happen to me. "Vanessa," she didn't respond. "Vanessa, come here." "What?" She sounded annoyed. "Just come here, please," she sighed, got up, walked over to the table. "What?" I held up the ticket. "I think I just won $2 million. She stared at it, then at me, then back at the ticket. "Are you serious?" "I think so. I don't know. It says 2 million right here." She grabbed the ticket out of my hand, studied it carefully, then looked up at me with this expression I'd never seen before. Her eyes were wide, almost calculating. "Oh my God, Connor, oh my God." And then she hugged me, tighter than she'd hugged me in months. "This is it," she said into my shoulder. "This is everything we've been waiting for." I hugged her back, but something about the way she said "we" made my stomach feel strange. I pushed the feeling away. This was good news, incredible news. Life-changing news. Of course she was excited. Of course she said we were a couple. We'd been talking about getting engaged. This was our win. "Right. We need to be smart about this," Vanessa said, pulling back and looking at me with sudden intensity. "We can't tell anyone yet. We need to figure out taxes, legal stuff, how to claim it. We need a lawyer." "A lawyer?" I said. "It's a lottery ticket. Don't I just take it to the lottery office?" "Connor, this is $2 million. You can't just walk in and cash it like it's a birthday check. There are taxes. There might be people who try to sue you or claim they're owed part of it. We need to protect ourselves." The way she kept saying "we" should have been my first clue, but I was too overwhelmed to notice. We spent the next 2 hours researching lottery claims, reading articles about winners who'd lost everything, watching videos about financial advisors and tax attorneys. Vanessa made a list. She was always good at organizing things, at making plans. It was one of the things I'd loved about her. "Okay," she finally said, setting down her pen. "First thing tomorrow we go to the lottery office and verify the ticket. Then we find a lawyer. Then we figure out how much we're actually getting after taxes, and we start planning." "Planning what?" I asked. She looked at me like I was stupid. "Our future, Connor. This is our chance. We can pay off your truck. We can get a house. I can finally start my own real estate firm. I've been waiting for the capital to do it. You can quit that job you hate. We can actually live." I didn't hate my job, but I didn't correct her. We went to bed that night with the ticket in my wallet, and I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that $2 million number. I kept getting up to check that my wallet was still on the nightstand, that the ticket was still inside. Vanessa slept fine. The next morning, we went to the state lottery office downtown. It was smaller than I expected. Just a plain office building with a security desk and a waiting area. We checked in, and a woman named Brenda took us back to a private room. "Congratulations," she said with a smile that suggested she'd said it 1,000 times before. "Let's verify your ticket." She scanned it under some kind of UV light, checked the serial number on her computer, nodded. "This is legitimate. You've won $2 million. Hearing someone else say it made it real in a way it hadn't been before, Brenda explained the process. We could take the lump sum. About $1.2 million after taxes, or annual payments over 20 years. She gave us paperwork, explained our options, told us we had 180 days to claim. "Take your time," she said. "Talk to a financial advisor, talk to a lawyer, make sure you're making the best decision for your situation." "We will," Vanessa said quickly. "Thank you." We left the lottery office, and Vanessa was already on her phone looking up attorneys. "I found one," she said as we walked to my truck. "Leonard Ashford. He specializes in lottery winnings and estate planning. He's expensive, but if we're smart, we'll make that money back 100 times over." "Okay," I said. I was still in shock, honestly. Everything was moving so fast. We met with Leonard Ashford 2 days later. He was exactly what you'd expect. Mid-50s, tailored suit, corner office with a view. He shook our hands, congratulated us, and immediately started talking about tax shelters and trusts and investment portfolios. "The first thing we need to do," Leonard said, "is protect the asset. Connor, you're the winner, so legally the money is yours, but if you two are planning to marry, we should discuss how to structure things so you're both protected." Vanessa leaned forward. "What do you mean the money is his? We're a couple. We bought the ticket together." I looked at her. "You weren't with me when I bought it. But we share finances, Connor. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. That's how relationships work." Leonard cleared his throat. "Actually, under state law, lottery winnings are considered individual property unless there's a legal agreement stating otherwise. Since you two aren't married, the winnings belong solely to Connor." Vanessa's face went tight. "That's ridiculous. We've been together for 4 years." "I understand," Leonard said carefully, "but the law is clear. Now Connor can choose to share the winnings, of course. That's his decision. But legally, they're his." The rest of the meeting was tense. Vanessa barely spoke. Leonard walked us through different options. How I could set up a trust, how to minimize taxes, what to do about claims from family members or friends who might suddenly appear. When we left, Vanessa was silent. "Are you okay?" I asked as we drove home. "I just think it's unfair that after everything we've been through together, after all the times I supported you, the law acts like I don't exist." "Vanessa, I'm not trying to cut you out. This is for both of us. Everything I do with this money, it's for our future." She didn't respond. That night she brought it up again. "I think we should get married," she said suddenly. We were eating dinner, take-out Chinese food at the kitchen table. I looked up, surprised. "What? I think we should get married. We've been together long enough. We love each other. And if we're married, then the money is ours, legally, no questions." "Vanessa, are you seriously proposing to me because of the lottery ticket?" "No," she said quickly. "I'm saying the lottery ticket is a sign. It's the universe telling us it's time. We've been talking about getting engaged anyway. Why wait?" We hadn't actually been talking about it that much. She'd mentioned it a few times. I'd agreed that someday it made sense, but this felt wrong. "I don't want to rush into anything," I said carefully. "This is a lot of money. I need to make sure I'm thinking clearly." Her jaw tightened. "You think I'm after your money?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." She got up, dumped her food in the trash, and went to the bedroom. She didn't come out for the rest of the night. Things got worse over the next 2 weeks. Vanessa started making comments, little digs about how I was hoarding the winnings, how I was acting different, how she thought we were partners, but apparently I saw her as just a girlfriend. I tried to reassure her. I told her I wanted to build a life together. I told her the money wasn't going to change us. But every conversation ended in an argument, and then one night I came home from work and she was gone, not just out. Gone. Her clothes were gone from the closet. Her toiletries were gone from the bathroom. The photo of us from Cancun that used to sit on the bookshelf. Gone. There was a note on the kitchen counter. "Connor, I can't be with someone who doesn't trust me. I thought we were building a future together, but clearly you see me as a threat. I need space to figure out what I want. Don't contact me." I stood there holding that note, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. I called her. It went to voicemail. I texted her. No response. I drove to her friend Kelsey's apartment where I thought she might be staying. Kelsey answered the door but wouldn't let me in. "She doesn't want to see you," Kelsey said. "Just give her space." "I just want to talk to her," I said. "I want to fix this." "Then maybe you should have treated her like a partner instead of a gold digger." She closed the door. I went home, and for the first time since I'd scratched that ticket, I cried. I spent the next 3 weeks in a fog. I went to work, came home, stared at the TV without really watching it. I kept checking my phone, hoping Vanessa would reach out. She never did. I moved forward with the lottery claim. I took the lump sum. $1.2 million after taxes. Leonard helped me set up a trust, invest most of it conservatively, keep some liquid for immediate needs. I paid off my truck. I paid off my credit cards. I put a down payment on a small house in a decent neighborhood. I didn't feel happy about any of it. And then 2 months after Vanessa left, I got served. A process server showed up at my door on a Saturday morning and handed me a manila envelope. Inside was a court summons. Vanessa Torres was suing me for half of the lottery winnings. I sat on my couch reading the lawsuit, my hands shaking. She claimed that she had purchased the lottery ticket, that I had agreed to share any winnings, that we had a verbal contract, that she was entitled to half the money. $600,000. Her lawyer, someone named Gregory Winters, had attached a statement from Vanessa detailing how we'd pooled our resources and made financial decisions together as a couple. She claimed she'd given me $20 that day to buy gas and tickets. She claimed I'd promised to split anything we won. None of it was true. I called Leonard Ashford immediately. "This is aggressive," he said after I read him the complaint. "But it's not uncommon. Lottery winners get sued all the time. The good news is she has to prove her claim, and from what you've told me, she can't. What do I need to do?" "You need to prove you bought the ticket yourself. Do you have the receipt?" "I didn't. I'd thrown it away." "Do you have bank records showing the purchase?" "It paid cash." "Do you have any witnesses?" "Anyone who can confirm you bought it alone?" "Been alone at the gas station." Leonard was quiet for a moment. "Okay, this might be tougher than I thought, but we'll fight it. Start putting together everything you can. Bank records showing your separate finances, testimony from friends about the relationship, anything that shows she's lying." The court date was set for 4 months later. Those were the worst 4 months of my life. Vanessa's lawyer subpoenaed everything. My bank records, my phone records, my employment history. They interviewed my coworkers. They interviewed my family. They tried to paint me as someone who'd manipulated Vanessa, who'd isolated her financially, who'd used her and then discarded her when I didn't need her anymore. It was insane. None of it was true, but they didn't care about the truth. They cared about building a case. Leonard built our defense carefully. He got statements from friends saying Vanessa had always been financially independent, that we'd split bills and expenses fairly. He got records from my bank showing I'd never received $20 from Vanessa on the day I bought the ticket. He got testimony from the gas station attendant, a kid named Omar who barely remembered me but confirmed that people usually bought lottery tickets on their own. But the centerpiece of our defense, the thing Leonard kept coming back to, was one simple fact. Vanessa had never mentioned the lottery ticket until after I won. If she'd really bought it, if she'd really given me money for it, if we'd really agreed to split any winnings, why hadn't she asked about it? Why hadn't she said anything when I came home that night and scratched it? Leonard had me go through my phone records. We pulled every text message between me and Vanessa from the week before and after I won, and we found it. The night I won, after we'd verified the ticket at the lottery office, Vanessa texted her friend Kelsey. "Connor won the lottery." 2M, I can't believe it. This changes everything. Not we won. Not our ticket won. Connor won. That text message became Exhibit A the day of the trial finally came. It was late August. Hot, humid, miserable. I wore the only suit I owned. A charcoal gray one I'd bought for my cousin's wedding 3 years earlier. Vanessa was already in the courtroom when I arrived with Leonard. She wore a navy dress, hair pulled back, makeup subtle. She looked good, composed, confident. She didn't look at me. Her lawyer, Gregory Winters, was younger than I. Expected, maybe 40, expensive suit, slick-back hair. He had the kind of face that made you distrust him immediately. The judge, Honorable Patricia Callahan, was a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and an expression that suggested she'd heard every lie a person could tell. "Good morning," she said as everyone settled. "We're here for Torres v. Mitchell, case number CV 2024-18847. Ms. Torres is claiming entitlement to half of a lottery winning earned by Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Winters, you may present your opening statement." Gregory Winters stood, buttoned his jacket, and addressed the court. "Your Honor, this case is about partnership, about trust, about a woman who supported her partner through difficult times, who pooled her resources with his, who made a financial contribution that directly led to a life-changing lottery win, only to be cast aside when that win made her inconvenient." He went on for 10 minutes, painting Vanessa as the victim of my greed and manipulation. Then it was Leonard's turn. "Your Honor, this case is about fraud, about a calculated attempt to claim ownership of something that never belonged to the plaintiff. Ms. Torres has no receipt, no proof of purchase, no witnesses, and no contemporaneous acknowledgement that she had any stake in this lottery ticket. What she does have is regret. Regret that she left a relationship right before it became lucrative, and now she's trying to use the court to correct her mistake." Judge Callahan nodded. "Mr. Winters, call your first witness." Vanessa took the stand. She testified for 40 minutes. She described our relationship, how we'd lived together, shared expenses, made decisions together. She claimed she'd given me $20 on March 14th and asked me to pick up a few lottery tickets when I stopped for gas. She said we'd had an understanding that anything we won would be split equally. And when Mr. Mitchell won, Gregory Winters asked, "What was your reaction?" "I was thrilled," Vanessa said. "I thought it meant we could finally build the life we'd always talked about, a house. Maybe start a family." But then he started pulling away. He started talking about his money instead of our money, and I realized he'd never seen me as an equal partner. It was a good performance, I'll give her that. Then Leonard cross-examined her. "Ms. Torres, you claim you gave Mr. Mitchell $20 to purchase lottery tickets on March 14th. Do you have any proof of that transaction?" "It was cash," Vanessa said. "I didn't keep a receipt." "Do you have any text messages from that day asking Mr. Mitchell to buy tickets?" "No, it was a casual conversation." "Do you have any witnesses who heard this conversation?" "No, we were alone, so your entire claim rests on your word." "Yes, because I'm telling the truth." Leonard nodded. "Ms. Torres, I'd like to show you a text message you sent to your friend Kelsey on March 15th. The night after Mr. Mitchell won the lottery. He pulled up the message on a screen visible to the whole courtroom. "Connor won the lottery. 2M, I can't believe it. This changes everything." Leonard looked at Vanessa. "You wrote Connor won, not we won, not our ticket won." "Why is that?" Vanessa hesitated. "That's just how I phrased it. But if you'd purchased the ticket, wouldn't you say we won?" "I don't know. I was excited. I wasn't thinking about grammar." "You weren't thinking about grammar, or you weren't thinking about the fact that you had no legal claim to the money?" "Objection," Gregory Winters said. "Argumentative." "Sustained," Judge Callahan said. "Rephrase, Mr. Ashford. Ms. Torres, isn't it true that you only claimed ownership of this ticket after you realized Mr. Mitchell wasn't going to share the winnings the way you wanted?" "No," Vanessa said firmly. "I always knew I'd bought that ticket." "Then why did you wait 2 months to file this lawsuit? Why didn't you immediately demand your share?" "Because I loved him," Vanessa said, her voice breaking slightly. "I didn't want to make it about money. I wanted us to work through it as a couple, but he shut me out. It was good, really good." A few people in the gallery nodded sympathetically, but Leonard wasn't done. "Ms. Torres, did you ever ask Mr. Mitchell about the lottery ticket after he bought it, but before he won?" "What do you mean?" "Did you text him asking if he'd remembered to buy the tickets? Did you ask him to check them? Did you mention the lottery at all between March 14th and March 15th? Vanessa opened her mouth, then closed it. "No," she finally said. "I didn't. Because you didn't buy the ticket. You didn't even know he'd bought one until he won." "That's not true." "No further questions, Your Honor." Vanessa stepped down, and I could see the confidence draining from her face. Gregory Winters called 2 more witnesses. Vanessa's friend Kelsey, who testified that Vanessa had always been generous with money, and a former coworker who said Vanessa had mentioned buying lottery tickets with me in the past. Neither of them could confirm anything about March 14th specifically. Then Leonard called me to the stand. I testified for an hour. I walked through everything. Buying the ticket alone, scratching it at home, Vanessa's reaction, the way things fell apart when the lawyer said the money was legally mine. "Mr. Mitchell," Leonard asked, "did Ms. Torres ever give you $20 to buy lottery tickets?" "No, sir." "Did you ever agree to split any lottery winnings with her?" "No, sir. I mean, if I'd won while we were together, I would have shared it with her because I loved her, but we never had a formal agreement." "Did you intentionally exclude her from the winnings?" "No, I wanted to build a future with her. She's the one who left." Gregory Winters cross-examined me aggressively. He tried to make me look like a liar, like someone who'd manipulated Vanessa and then abandoned her. But I stuck to the truth, and then Leonard called his final witness, Omar Patel, the gas station attendant. Omar was nervous, kept fidgeting with his hands, but he was credible. "Do you remember Mr. Mitchell purchasing lottery tickets on March 14th? Leonard asked. "I mean, not specifically," Omar said, "but I checked our records. He bought gas and 2 scratch tickets at 9:47 p.m. The transaction was $32.18. Was anyone with him?" "According to the security footage, no, he was alone." Leonard played the footage. There I was, grainy and low resolution, standing at the counter, handing Omar cash, taking the tickets, walking out alone. No Vanessa. No $20 bill. No conversation about splitting winnings. Gregory Winters tried to argue that the footage didn't prove anything. That Vanessa could have given me the money earlier, that the agreement could have been verbal, but the damage was done. Judge Callahan called a 15-minute recess, and when we came back, she delivered her ruling. "I've reviewed the evidence presented by both sides," she said, "and I find that Ms. Torres has failed to meet her burden of proof. She has provided no receipts, no contemporaneous documentation, no credible witnesses, and no evidence that she purchased or contributed to the purchase of the lottery ticket in question. Her own text messages suggest she viewed the winnings as Mr. Mitchell's, not hers." The security footage confirms Mr. Mitchell purchased the tickets alone. She looked at Vanessa. I understand that relationships can be complicated. I understand that financial stress can strain even the strongest partnerships. But the law requires proof, not assumptions, and Ms. Torres has provided none. She banged her gavel. Judgment for the defendant. Case dismissed. I stood there, barely breathing. Leonard shook my hand. Congratulations! Vanessa was crying. Gregory Winters was packing his briefcase, looking annoyed. I walked out of that courtroom into the bright afternoon. Sun, and for the first time in 6 months, I felt like I could breathe. That was 2 years ago. I still live in the house I bought with the lottery money. I still work at the distribution company. Turns out I actually like my job when I'm not stressed about money. I've traveled a little, invested wisely, helped my parents pay off some debt. I haven't spoken to Vanessa since the trial. I heard through mutual friends that she moved to Arizona and got engaged to someone else. I hope she's happy. I really do, but I learned something from all of this. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are, and more importantly, it reveals who the people around you really are. That lottery ticket was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. It gave me financial security I never thought I'd have. But it cost me a relationship I thought would last forever. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was. Because I'd rather be alone with the truth than surrounded by people who only love what I can give them. Thanks for listening. This is Cheating Story Exposed. And sometimes the biggest betrayal isn't what they do to you. It's realizing who they were all along.